You guys better call up Cardi B, because on this episode of the Colonize the Ocean podcast, there's some bros in this house. We talk about the origination and creation of Atlantis Sea Colony. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Colonize the Ocean podcast, where we discuss oceanic colonization, exploration, and education with your hosts Adam Jewell and Brendon Traxler.
Welcome back to Season 2 of the Colonize the Ocean podcast. My name is Adam Jewell, and with me once again on Season 2 is my good friend, Brendon Traxler. Brendon, how are you doing today, buddy?
We're doing good.
Doing good. We took some time off. We took a couple months there to kind of, enjoy part of the summer. And then, we've got a lot
That's
of...
not the only reason we took the time off.
Well, I mean, I was about to dive into some of the stuff we're doing, but you just cut me off, jerk. And I'm getting into that. So we did some reaching out to some people. Actually, Brendon did a lot of the footwork, so I'm not going to take credit for it. But so with Season 2, we got a lot more interviews coming, and we got some of those recorded already. We got a few more that we're doing yet. This season's going to be packed full of interviews with people that have a lot of different knowledge of the, aquatic, oceanic world and technologies, and just a little bit of everything. And just people that have some pretty creative ideas. So, Brendon, you have anything else to tease on that?
No. I think it's not going to be 22 episodes like Season 1 was. I'll tell you that much.
Right.
We went shorter but more value this time around, and we're trying to do pretty much all interviews. We got a few more I'm trying to get as we speak, but even with what we got right now, we got some ones one of them we've been chasing since the very beginning of Season 1. We finally got tied down, and then a couple other really good ones too. So I'm excited.
Yeah, one of the problems that maybe I shouldn't use the word problems, but one of the things we were doing beforehand is that we were focused on doing a lot of news stuff. So we were rushing to do it like weekly. And then I guess I felt like maybe we weren't putting our best foot forward as far as like the quality of the episodes, like our content. So with this, I think we get a lot more out of it. And I think you'd probably agree with that.
I would. I completely agree with it. And you'll also be able to see that as the episodes are coming out, you'll be able to date them based upon my beard length and hairstyles too, because they have drastically changed over the course of some of these recordings too.
Yeah. We've already recorded 4 or 5 episodes already.
Yeah.
And now we're doing this one, which is the opener. So, things will look a little bit different as you jump around on the episode. So, don't get confused. But Brendon's beard timeline might throw you off a little. But before we so this episode we wanted to kind of just talk a little bit about our backgrounds, because I guess we've never really dived too far into us in the past, you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
So kind of give us a little background on us. But before that, Brendon, tell us about how you spent part of your break off from the podcast.
I've been working on getting people together for podcasts and busy with Atlantis Sea Colony and doing stuff like that.
Really, that's what you're gonna go with? You know the story I want you to tell.
So the story you want me to tell is that I may or may not have gotten COVID-19. That's the story you want.
Yeah, and you say may or may not because what was it? Your test said negative, but you were the sickest I've ever seen you. I've known you for well over 20 years.
It was
so bad. So and you were out of it for I guess kind of a teaser into what we're about to talk about, our backgrounds and stuff. like I said, I've known Brendon for 20 plus years, and we've been very good friends, and we obviously we live remotely. We don't live like across the road from each other, but we talk multiple times a day, and just usually we're sending stupid pictures back and forth. But I mean, a lot of times we're talking about business stuff as well. Um, and like this was like the least amount of time I had talked to Brendon as well. He was out sick, and I was legitimately worried about you, sir, and I'm glad that everything's back to normal with you, whether you did or did not have it. But it
That's
seemed
right.
awfully suspicious.
Yeah, it was a tough time.
But you're back
I
up,
am.
and it's a good
It's not a
thing,
joking matter either. I mean, it's a serious thing, and
right?
I say fortunately for me that I've got a pretty decent lung capacity and stuff along those lines. And even then, it was still I had some times I was concerned. So if you've got any sort of respiratory issue, asthma, something like that, I could definitely see where it would be a very concerning and scary thing.
Yeah, yeah, and I laugh because it's like I said, it's not appropriate to laugh about it because there's people that are having a lot worse time with it than
Yeah,
others. But just like I said, it was more to me humorous that because like I said, you were resting a lot, you weren't messaging me. And so like I even got a hold of like one of your family members to be like, hey, can you check in on Brendon because I haven't heard from him in a while. So like, and then you finally messaged me back before they did. So like, so then I felt kind of creepy that I'm reaching out to your family to check on you. But
whatever.
um,
They don't care.
and then I'm gonna boast a little bit about what I've been doing. Actually, it kind of was going on during season one a little bit towards the end, but I'm getting into the political game, trying to, anyways. I'm
Yes.
running for state senate, not U.S. Senate, but state senate up here in South Dakota. So I've had that going on. Running as a libertarian candidate in my district. So um, yeah, that's been consuming a lot of my time, and time will tell what happens come November. But yeah, like that little time off, it gave us time to focus up on the like how we were going to do the podcast. You went through that ordeal, and then you've been you help your family out with a family business, and um, just we've stayed busy. It wasn't much of like a vacation, I guess.
True. Very true.
So let's talk about do a little interview with you, Brendon.
Well, I guess we can start with me.
Or did you want to go? Did you want to talk? I suppose we'll save you as the finale.
We can do that too.
Meanings you are the more important half of.
I want to go
You're,
that
you're the
far.
more important three-quarters of
I
Atlantic
just
Sea
think mine's
Colony.
going to be a little bit longer
Yeah, you have
winded than
more.
yours.
You have more in depth in this. So, yeah, we kind of decided we'd do an episode just talking about us and how we got into this and our backgrounds, and yeah, that does make more sense. Sorry that I was about to derail us. So what do you want to know about me, Brendan?
Why don't we just start about you know I don't want to get too personal because I don't think you want to give out too much information, but or maybe you do.
Oh,
I don't know.
I'll tell you
Uh,
every single thing you need to know.
well, I don't know if we're going to go that deep, but how about we just start off with Adam's background, where you're from? Obviously, South Dakota. You said that. Have you lived there your whole life? Do you have family
Yep.
members? Obviously, you talked about your kids. I'm assuming you're married. How about all those type of things?
So yeah, born and raised in South Dakota. Graduated high school in '07. Got a online business degree through University of Phoenix in 2011. I haven't really utilized that too much, so maybe Brennan will help me put that to use in the future with Atlanta Sea Colony. So, um, but yeah, got married in 2010. Have two kids, uh, two little girls. One's turning 7 actually in like a few days from this recording, and one just turned 4. Um, yeah, like my whole family's from this area. All grew up in here. My background really is in manufacturing. Ever since I got out of high school, I've just been in different types of manufacturing, different positions in manufacturing. We kind of touched on that a little bit in an episode last season, kind of, but that's kind of, I guess, the real short version of my background.
Do you have any hobbies, Adam? What do you like to do in your spare time?
I like to hang out with my friend Brendan.
Oh,
No, hobbies. Really like to hang out with my kids, and there's a few games I like to play. Got back into some online gaming recently. I won't dive too far into that, just because it makes me seem like I'm 12 again. But yeah, I like to play video games once in a while. But I like football. When football's on, NFL. If as you can tell
Obviously.
by my hat and my coffee cup right here, Cincinnati Bengals fan. That's one thing Brennan and I don't share, is that he's just not a sports guy, and I'm not a sports guy either. I like football. That's really about it. I can't get into anything else. So, um, and then that's really about it. I kind of like this. Kind of has become one of my hobbies, is just doing some of the work with you, the stuff that I enjoy doing, like social media management and um, podcasting. That's been fun. I like before we did this, I tried going out on my own. Or before we started doing this, I had my own podcast a few years back, and it was fun, but it's not fun to do it without a co-host. So like I just hated talking by myself, and I would interview guests, but it's nice to have a second person there. So um, best of both worlds with this, but yeah, I mean, really, I'm pretty simple. Nothing too crazy about me.
And
Politics.
yeah, and your past podcast experience is kind of why this is here, because there was no way I was going to do it by my own, and you already knew how to do it, and so there's something I wanted to do, and so I was like, hey, Adam, how about you help me out this podcast thing? So here we
Yeah,
are.
yeah, and I think it's worked out pretty good. It kind of started with me doing some of the editing, and now you took it over, which I'm perfectly fine with, because that's the part I didn't like about podcasting, is doing all the editing.
Right. Back when it was just audio, you were doing that, but now it's video. I
Yeah,
just went ahead, yeah. So, pineapple on pizza. How do you feel about that?
that's what? No, first of all, that's I actually the day that we're recording this, I just ordered pizza earlier this evening. I'm a pepperoni guy. Sometimes the meat lovers, but no, I think it's weird when people mess with pizza, like the whole pineapple thing. And then there's uh Godfather's is like a national chain, right? For pizza?
I
Or is
don't
that a
know what that.
Midwest thing?
It may only be mid. I don't think there's one down here in the south, but we had them in Illinois.
Okay, so Godfather's, like, we have one up here, and everybody loves this taco pizza. And I think it's absolutely crazy. It's not
It's not bad.
that's not a
It's not bad.
it's not a pizza. That's not a pizza. Sorry. I like to keep my pizza simple, man. I like pepperoni.
It just feels like it's got grass on top of it though, with the like the lettuce
Yeah,
and
so
stuff.
why is
But
that
it's good.
enjoyable?
It's good.
I'll take your word for it.
So, what else in your personal space should we dive into here?
There's nothing really, I don't know, other than like what we've already dove into that kind of led me here. I mean, obviously
Do
we've been good.
I,
Go ahead.
I think we're. I'm not sure how we kind of keep this place, this podcast, apolitical. So I don't want to dive too much into your political side of the thing. If people want to find you, we'll leave information at the end of how they can follow
Right.
that aspect of you. But let's talk a little bit more about the business side of Adam, as far as you said we talked last season a little bit about lean management and stuff along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
So where is Adam's business forte?
I I guess my forte would be, means I've spent so much time in manufacturing. And if we can refer back to that, when I couldn't tell you which episode it was, when I talked about lean manufacturing, which is, the manufacturing process of making things efficient and um, safer, more cost effective, all that. That I've always had like a strong interest in that, and so that I think gives me like a creative edge when it comes to business, where I always look at how anything can be done, whether it's hands-on work or just a business process itself. Um, just different ways of doing it, and be able to be creative and find ways to save money, and just make things work better. I don't know. So it's like I like trying to be creative in whatever it is I'm doing. If I don't like the way I'm doing something or the way I was taught how to do something, whether it's just like physically, draining or mentally exhausting, like I'm always thinking of better ways to make something easier, cost effective, whatever the goal is. Like I'm just always looking at how to make things better.
And to that point, we, it's probably been a year ago. We had some good brainstorming sessions when you were looking at what designs I had in the layout of how I was planning on building Atlantic Sea Colony, and from that brainstorming alone, we already made some fundamental changes to not only the design of it, but it encompasses also the business structure as well. So just your input just on that alone, I think has been a fundamental change to the business. The core value is still there, but the design and stuff along those lines, it definitely changed just from your input on that alone. So you're worth your weight in gold right there.
And I weigh a lot, so that's another thing about me. But yeah, I mean that's that. I think that was part of the reason why, because the thing is, like, when you starting to make Atlantic Sea Colony more of a priority in your life. I mean, we'll get into like how this has been like one of your lifelong things, but the past few years you've really taken more of a aggressive approach to getting it going, where I like basically invited myself to start helping you. Like, I was done with the podcasting that I was doing, and I wanted something else to do than be involved in something. So I just flat out told you, I'm like, hey, I'll do this for you or whatever it is. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just, to me, that's fun, is being able to look at something, and obviously knowing you for so long, like I can bounce ideas off of you without you like taking it personal. Like there's some people, like if you were to look at something that they were doing and you suggested something, they'd be like, well, no, this is my thing, and don't even talk about changing it. So it's like, yeah, and I've learned a lot about a lot of this business too, which is cool. I mean, there's a lot of things that I foresee going on in the future of this business that I never would have foreseen me doing, so it's like, it's fun.
Very cool. So, as we said, well, so if people are wanting to, before we get too far ahead, if people are wanting to learn more about Adam, where can they find you? What, especially like your political career, what personal information you want to give out there if people want to know, get to know Adam.
Really, I mean, if you want to, the only, I guess, thing I have out there that's public is my my political stuff, and that would be if you just like go on Facebook and look for like Adam Jewell for District 5 Senate or votejewel.com, then there you'll see my I guess political stuff. But yeah, I mean, really, I mean, I try to be active on the Atlantic Sea Colony stuff, just being able to interact with people there, because then, I mean, politics is it's a touchy thing with a lot of people, especially nowadays, to where some people just don't want to talk about it. So, I mean, if that's kind of your thing, you want to go check it out, by all means. But I mean, I keep that separate from my Atlantic Sea Colony life, to where, those two worlds are different, I guess.
And I guess really, if people want to get a hold of you through Atlantic Sea Colony, just make sure you specify it's for Adam, because
like, hey, Adam.
Yeah, even though you post 99% of what we have on the page for the most part, I like and comment probably 99% of it too.
I post the content, and then you usually post the replies. A lot of times, if I post the replies, I'll like put AJ behind it, just so like I can differentiate it.
Yeah, and if it's like an opinion base, I'll try to put my BT behind it too. So yeah. I'm not stepping on each other's toes there. But
I just need to figure out how to work Facebook to where I can comment on the Atlantic Sea Colony stuff as Adam Jewell, because every time I go to try to comment, it just makes me want to, or it like automatically tries to make me comment as Atlantic Sea Colony. So
yep.
That's an off podcast thing.
That
We need to
is.
figure out how to fix up because that way I can be more personable with people. So that's enough about me, Brendan. Let's
I mean, that
get into
wasn't that
the
much.
let's get into the meat of this one. We're gonna talk about the meat himself, Brendan.
It's weird.
Is it? I'm just trying to figure out a cool nickname to stick with you, Brendan the Meat Drexler. so, uh, okay. So, same question. So, tell me. I mean, I know a little bit about you, but tell the people. I mean, your history. Where'd you grow up? Well, where did your life take you to where you are now? And just yeah, your personal stuff, and then we'll work our way into the Atlantic Sea Colony.
It was a cold winter's day, December of 1977. It was actually. I think there was a blizzard that year, so it was. But yeah, I was born and raised in Illinois, Central Illinois, actually. But you know, my mom raised me on watching PBS specials with Jacques Cousteau and stuff along those lines at a young age. I remember staying home and watching that stuff on with her. It's always fascinating to me. And I remember even at a young age, I enjoyed drawing, and a lot of my artwork was scuba divers and underwater stuff and stuff along those lines. If I had seen that artwork today, that'd be cool, but who knows where it's happened over the years. But anyway, when I turned 12, so I was raised and still am, in a very Christian backgrounded household, and my parents became missionaries when I turned 12, and we moved to Guatemala, Central America. So I lived there until I was 18, graduated high school there. But what that gave me was not only a third world perspective, seeing things in a bigger spectrum, and it gave me a bunch of good contacts as well. It also heightened I was able to finally go visit the ocean a lot more because I was in a country that had oceans on both sides and get to experience a lot of that stuff that being landlocked up in the north, Midwest area, I wasn't going to experience. So it was a great experience for growing who Brendon is too. But while I was down there, also it was in the mid 90s because I graduated in 96. The TV show Sequest DSV came on, and yes, sci-fi, and it was campy, 90s TV show, whatever. But it reiterated that whole love that I had for the ocean into a sci-fi world where, we had The Abyss, and that was one of my favorite movies, still is. And we had a bunch of other movies that had come along, but there wasn't one that hit a vein with me like Sequest. And I saw these giant submarines and underwater habitats, and I'm like, why can't we have that? And this is before the internet, so I didn't have access to do a bunch of the research and stuff along those lines. But I started drawing at that point in time, and I drew huge, elaborate dome cities and stuff along those lines. But as you know, sci-fi. But then so this is back in '94, I think it was 95, 94, I think it was. So 26 years ago. And during that same time, I came up with the name Atlantic Sea Colony, the first logo, all that kind of stuff. And then as soon as I graduated high school, moved back to Illinois, back in the United States, I set up, some of you who've been on the internet for a long time, I set up a GeoCities free website for Atlantic Sea Colony and started making contacts back then. This is like late 90s, early 2000s. And so it's always been there that the actual domain name atlanticseacolony.com has been around for quite a while. It's probably one of the oldest ones out there in this field. The designs have drastically changed over years, especially once I got internet and it started, communicating with people. I guess I'm going a little bit off on the original thought there as who I am. But so basically, let's circle back around before I dive too much more into Atlantic Sea Colony. But yeah, Illinois, Mississippi, those, Guatemala, those are the three big places I've been over my years and lived. So I'm here because most of my family moved to Mississippi after my sister graduated from high school, and so all my family's down here and stuff. And so here's where I'm at.
So from Illinois to Guatemala, back to Illinois to Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
That's
more or less.
Give or take. There's probably like a few little things in there, yeah. But what technical backgrounds do you got? Like, what's your work experience like outside of Atlantic Sea Colony?
Well, honestly, when I first looked at graduating, my plan was to go into underwater welding, And I had applied to multiple different schools and to look at that and had all the documents and stuff like that. And at the last minute is one of those things where I was moving back from Guatemala straight to the United States. I knew it was going to be a drastic change for me. Financially, I wasn't set to do anything at that point in time, so I put that on hold, and I ended up getting just into welding itself there for several years. Got out of that, did some retail work for a while, and then got into IT and did IT for the last 15 some years or something along those lines until I moved to Mississippi. 3 years ago, I moved to Mississippi, and it was one of those life change things that I was not happy at the job. Job was fine. It was a great job. I had it made. I was the COO of an IT company. I could do pretty much whatever I wanted and made decent money. But I realized that I was putting Atlanta Sea Colony on hold for all this. Plus, I miss my family and stuff along those lines. So it was a dual type of thing. But I honestly looked at moving to like Florida or Texas or something along those lines at the time, because I knew I needed to either do something with Atlanta Sea Colony or shut up about it type of thing. I know and so that's why I quit my IT job, even though I work part-time for them still, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about that. And then moved down here, got roped into a family business as well while I'm down here. But all those things give me the freedom to focus whatever time needs on Atlanta Sea Colony. So.
And as long as I've known you, you've always been a busy guy, and it's something I always give you crap about, because you're a very generous person. So I mean, you help out your family a lot. You help out your church. Like you said, you're still doing part-time work back, for the place you did work for back in Illinois. Plus, you're taking on a bunch of this. I mean, you're doing a lot with Atlanta Sea Colony too. So, and I laugh because, like I keep saying, we've known each other for a very long time. And before you moved, you kept talking about how you're like, I just want to be able to, take a step back and relax a little bit, focus on Atlanta Sea Colony. And now I feel like you're even busier than you were when you lived in Illinois. But I guess that's neither here nor there. But
you're not the only person to say that, by the way. So
yeah. All right. So we talked about your, I guess your technical background, your work background, so, and your personal background. So, tell me kind of what. Go ahead.
I say, but you're talking about technical background. It goes to say that I have no technical background, anything pertaining to engineering, design, even though when I was a welder, I got to learn a lot about drafting, and I took a drafting course in high school and stuff along those lines, and that really gave me that bug for it. But then I'm not schooled in any of those things. So really, all this is a guy that has this vision. I know what needs to happen. I know it's doable, but I don't have the skill set for it. That's not going to stop me either.
Right, and we could do a whole episode, I think, just talking about people who were able to accomplish great things without certain, right, I guess, certifications or degrees and stuff like that. It's one of those things where you kind of teach yourself. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things, I think, along the way that we need people with degrees to maybe help us out. But I mean, this is an unknown, really untapped market, really. So I mean, I think everybody that's trying to do it is kind of teaching themselves. So, but like I said, we could do a whole episode just about that kind of thing, and we kind of have in the past.
Yeah.
Anywho, so Atlanta Sea Colony, you talked a little bit about kind of how the ideas started forming in your head in the 90s, and then you've always kind of tinkered. It's always been in the back of your head, and then like I said, really about 3 years ago, you started making it a focus in your life. So what has been the main driver along the way that has, I mean, you hear it all the time that it's crazy to think about doing this, pursuing this. You did have a really good job, but it wasn't obviously fulfilling something. So why sacrifice that to pursue this?
That is the age-old question. I mean, why? Because You know, there are times I look back and it's a scary thought to give up that comfort. And fortunately, I've got family to support me, and I didn't have a wife and kids and stuff like that I had to worry about either. So the decision was a whole lot easier for me to make than it would be other people. But I'm very passionate about people fulfilling that dream and that goal they have in them at almost all ends. I mean, it's one of those things where at least you tried type of thing. But for me, it's been there for so long, and I know I've seen all these other companies come and go. They have these visions of doing this and don't do it. And in my mind, the money factor aside, I don't understand why there's not more out there than there is. That it just seems like maybe I'm oversimplifying the whole thing too. And I'm not trying to talk down to other people out there who are trying to do it too, but in my mind, this just seems like such a no-brainer, and it should have been done by now. I mean, it has been with Aquarius and Jules and stuff along those lines, but I mean more on the a larger scale than it has been. So right. There's all those things in there. Plus, like you said, yes, I've had people laugh at me, tell me it's never going to happen, all those things. And those can be a driving force or a takeaway too. It just depends on how you let it. And I've let them both do it to me as well. But yeah, 3 years ago, I formed the LLC for Atlanta City Colony, make it legal, all that kind of stuff. And several of my part-time jobs right now, all that money funnels right into Atlanta City Colony for marketing, trying to build up for buying stuff, because whether we get people helping us out or not, it's going to happen. It's just maybe sooner than later, or later than sooner, I guess.
Right. Yeah, and I think we've talked about this like off the podcast before, that I think that's why you and I get along so well a lot of times, is because we've always had that, I guess, ambition to pursue the more abstract things, the more crazier things, that things that people would like laugh about. They're like, okay, why are you doing that? So for example, building underwater habitats a lot of normal people, they think that's insane. Why are you what? But then again, people probably laughed at Elon Musk years ago when he wanted to pursue being like, hey, I'm just going to go to Mars without NASA or something like that. So, I mean, and I'm not trying to divert it back to me, but with me doing my political thing, me running as a third party candidate, same thing. Like, it's just, you get laughed at, you're told you don't have a chance, it's never going to happen, to where it drives me further to make me like want to prove these people wrong. It's like, and maybe this is how you look at it. To me, I don't want to be remembered for being good at doing something normal. I'd be much rather be remembered not obtaining something that I was super ambitious about, or striving for a long time and accomplishing something crazy, So maybe that's a weird way of putting it, but
that makes sense. Also for me, I'm a huge introvert, so I look at it as, if I can build something out in the middle of the ocean and escape to it and get away from people, I'm all about that.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of like another thing. I think me and you both have the hobby of, like, we've always talked about, like, not always talked about, but like the whole like survivalist thing in a way, where it's just like, yeah, what's it like to be like isolated for a while, or being able to live off the grid and all that. So like that was one of the things that like kind of was appealing to me, is like I always thought about like just having underground bunker somewhere that nobody knew where I was at, and like just stock up on food and all that stuff, have some solar panels and fresh water, whatever it is, and then just something like coronavirus going on, like where I could just ride this thing out underground for however long I needed to. So I mean, granted, this is underwater, so really not that much different, except for with underwater, you at least get a view and you can see some cool stuff while you're waiting it out.
There is that.
So what else would there be like to talk about Brendon and Atlanta Sea Colony? So what would you like to see happen, I suppose, maybe in like the next 5 years?
In my personal life or Atlanta Sea Colony life?
Either? Both?
I guess at this point in time, they're pretty much intertwined. So, no, No, once again, you'll hear a reoccurring statement through our interviews this season that it all comes down to funding and the almighty dollar. And really, that is the determining factor on what happens in the next 5 years. If we never see a penny from any donors, investors, anything, 5 years from now, I'll still be funding the money into the thing and chugging away at it. Goal is hopefully here pretty soon to be able to start testing some of this stuff out in some water. But yeah, I think it really depends on notoriety and funding on where we proceed from next. Best case scenario is in 5 years we've got multiple habitats already in the water, and we're moving towards phase 2 of the whole thing, and we'll see where we go from there. But like I say, no matter what, my drive to make this happen isn't going to be diminished in 5 years after 26 years of thinking about this. So yeah, it gets a little discouraging from time to time, but no, I'm not giving up that easy.
What else? I think what else do you want people to know about you, Brendon?
I don't know. I mean, I kind of think I'm a pretty boring person for the most part. And it's just one of those things where, besides Atlantic Sea Colony, I don't know. That's pretty much
you kind of are a homebody.
I am. I say when I had or did not have Corona, being stuck in the house 7 days with nobody around, it wasn't bad. So
other than the Corona part,
or which I may or may not have had,
which may or may not have been there.
Yeah, no. Otherwise, but yeah, I say I enjoy movies, I enjoy music, I enjoy stuff that doesn't require me to leave the house. But no, like you said, I do. I invest a lot of time in different freelance stuff, church, family. So that eats up a lot of my time. But at the same time, it's a balance that I think I need to have. So.
Yep, and the only thing is I keep telling you need to take a vacation soon. So, but depending on when this podcast comes out, maybe you will have taken some days off to go do something safe and a little bit more socially distant and all that. Gotta do all that stuff nowadays. But do we want to talk about anything else, Brendon? Do you want to make that a show?
I think that's pretty much about it. We'll put in the show notes, how to find you as far as that stuff goes. Obviously, you can find me through Atlantic Sea Colony or typing in Brendon Traxler usually brings me up most other social media stuff. You probably don't want to follow me on Facebook because I post just stupid stuff on there.
Same as me.
Yeah. So
I've been trying to clean it up a little bit with the whole politics thing. But
yeah, I really don't post that often anyway or share that much. I just lurk. But yeah, no. I say, if you want to get a hold of me, Atlantic Sea Colony, I answer almost all even the private messages. I usually answer all those too. So.
Yeah, I usually leave all the direct messages to you to deal with. It's kind of like customer service. I'm not going to do that part where I'm not going to try to act like I know how to answer the questions people have. This is the way it is. So with that, you guys can go to AtlanticSeaColony.com, and there you're going to find the links to all of our social medias, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitters, the LinkedIns, the YouTubes, the libraries, aka LBRY. Just all of that good stuff is going to be right there for you guys to find. You guys can, we keep talking about we could really use a little bit of help. So if you guys wanted to donate either via Patreon, which is www.patreon.com/Atlantic Sea Colony, and I think set up a PayPal thing that like people, if they just want to do like a one-time direct donation, they can do that, and I think that's on the website as well.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, you guys can do that, and I mean every little bit helps to be able to get this going. Like I said, it's gonna happen. It's just, we want people to be able to see this like soon. We don't want to have to show people like way down the road. We want to do it now. We want to. I mean, here's the deal, guys. I need a new job. I'm so tired of what I'm doing. I need Brendon to be able to like just take me on as a full-time employee. So really, guys, no, I'm kidding, obviously. But yeah, it's anything can help, even if it's just sharing our content and spreading the word about it. That helps too, because you might have a rich friend, and that's that's all we care about.
Wow.
Other than that, guys, like I said, a lot of cool episodes coming up on season 2 of Colonize the Ocean. So until the next one, thank you guys, and we'll see you then.
We would like to take this opportunity to thank our first patron, Edward. Thank you very much for your support. As a patron, you get perks such as early access to the podcasts and other videos. Plus, we'll have polls from time to time that you get to take part of. So we encourage you to hop over there for as low as $1 a month and support us on that.
Thank you guys for tuning in again to another episode of Colonize the Ocean podcast. As always, you can check us out on our social media platforms. You can see us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Library, YouTube, Reddit. All you got to do is look for Atlantis Sea Colony and you'll find us. Also, if you're able to donate to help us support our project, go to www.patreon.com/Atlantis Sea Colony. For any other info and the links to all those, you can go to www.atlantisseacolony.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next episode.